It's not only your teacher that affects how you sound when you speak English. Every time you watch TV shows, movies, or listen to songs, they all make a really big difference. And because of this, a lot of students end up speaking a strange and confusing mix of British and American English. So in this lesson, you're going to learn how to tell the difference between vocabulary, expressions, idioms and slang that are used in Britain and in the USA, while I tell you what happened to me when I visited Boston, Massachusetts in America. Don't worry about taking notes because there's a PDF with all the information on it that you can download for free in the description below. Hi, I'm Steve. Let's do this. A few years ago, I arrived in Boston, America, and after a long flight, I was shattered. Or beat, as they say in America. I rented a car and put all my luggage in the boot. Or, now that I'm in America, I should say I put my luggage in the trunk. And then I drove to the nearest hotel. When I arrived, the receptionist asked me how long I was on vacation for, and I told him I was on holiday for a fortnight. He thought for a moment and then smiled and said because he watched British TV shows, he knew that a fortnight meant 2 weeks. He then asked me for my zip and it was my turn to look confused. I told him the only zip I had was on my coat. We both laughed and he said in America they call that type of zip a zipper. And what he actually meant was the zip code, which is the code that's used for an area where Americans live. I told him in the UK we have a similar system, but it's called our postcode. Finally, he gave me my key and told me my room was on the first floor. So I asked him where the lift was, and I could see the confusion on his face. That's when I realized in America, they call lifts elevators. So when I used the word elevator, he still looked confused. And he asked me, why did I need an elevator? Sorry, that's my American accent. When my room was on the first floor. And between us, we finally worked out that in America, they call this the first floor, where in the United Kingdom, we call this the ground floor, and we call this the first floor. He must have thought I was a pillock, or as they'd say in America, a jerk. I got to my room and decided to have 40 winks before I went out. And when I woke up half an hour later, I felt full of beans, or as the Americans would say, energized. I decided to stretch my legs by walking to the restaurant, so I put on my trainers. And when I arrived at the restaurant, a waiter who was a nice young man with a big fringe introduced himself by saying, "Hi, I'm Randy, and I'll be your server today." Again, apologies for the American accent, which I thought was very strange because in the UK, to be Randy means to feel sexy. So he'd said the equivalent in American English of saying, "Hi, I'm horny." Also, we don't use the word server very much in the UK. We just say waiter or waitress. I ordered steak and chips, but I remembered to use the word fries because in America, chips are these and not these. Before the food arrived, I decided I needed to use the toilet. So I asked Randy the server, still makes me laugh, where the loo was. And when he looked confused, I remembered that Americans don't use the word loo for toilet, they use restroom. After my main meal, I decided to have some ice cream. And Randy asked if I wanted sprinkles on it. I apologised and said I had no idea what this was. And what he actually meant in British English was hundreds and thousands. These. And I have to say, it was scrummy. When I'd finished, I asked for the bill. Randy brought it saying, "Here's your check." It was a very nice night, so I decided to walk back to the hotel, even though it had got a little dark. And on the way, I saw a man walking his dog, and he had a torch with him. I decided to stop for a chinwag, or as the Americans would say, shoot the breeze. He told me he was very happy because his son had just been selected for his school's soccer team, which of course is more commonly known as football in the United Kingdom. I told him when I was at school, I used to be a hooker, and he looked shocked until I explained that a hooker was a position in a rugby sports team, and not a prostitute like it is in America. No wonder he looked shocked. Eventually, I got back to my room in the hotel and I went to bed. And as I lay there, I thought of all the confusion between British English and American English. And this was just day one. If you want to know what happens next, click on the bus to subscribe and then click on this link for another lesson that's guaranteed to improve your English. I'll see y'all next time.